Superman 2 is property of Warner Brothers. This is a fan-made movie review. Please support the official release. Alright, who's next? I'm ready. Bring on, who the fuck is next?
Game Boy Advance SP, you are next.
Well, send him on then.
I am the Game Boy Advance SP. I was once your favorite game system, but you've deserted me.
I didn't desert you. I just got better games. I mean, look, you're still on a cartridge. We've evolved from that.
Yes, but you must still die.
Can I review the movie first?
You're not going to take out a cheap shot like that at me.
I'll let you kill me without moving.
Okay.
Alright, today we're reviewing Superman 2. Let's get right on to it. Okay, so Superman 2 starts off with the three guys that were banished to the Phantom Zone in the beginning of the last movie. And that would be General Zod and his two companions. I don't know their names, but I don't care about their names. And they're attempting to do something I don't really know, but they've been found guilty and they're sentenced to the... And they're sentenced. Yeah. To the Phantom Zone. Then we're at the Daily Planet with Clark Kent, and they're talking about stuff. Then you got Lois Lane again. So, some characterization stuff and such. The movie kind of goes on for a little while without anything really significantly happening. But then there's a terrorist attack, and, well, they're terrorists holding up hostages in the Eiffel Tower, and, who's gonna save the day? Why, that would be Superman. Yes, Superman's back. With the awesome effects of 1970s. Which I think at this point was 1980. And the terrorists had a nuclear weapon with them. I don't know how exactly they got that, but Superman takes it out of the atmosphere and sends it flying into space. And it explodes, but, unknowing to Superman, the explosion releases General Zod and his companions from the Phantom Zone. Yeah, that's a little unlikely, but somehow it happened. So, a little while later, Clark Kent and Lois Lane are sent to do a story in Niagara Falls or something like that. And unknowing to us, Lex Luthor is back, as usual. Oh, and yeah, now he's bald. I forgot to mention that. And then on the then on the moon, General Zod and his three companions attack some astronauts, and they plan to go to attack Earth. Then Lex Luthor escapes from jail, but his retarded minions left behind. Yeah, I could have seen that one coming 3 movies ago. Then while Then while Superman and Clark Kent and Lois Lane are at Niagara Falls, some kid is playing, I don't know, trying to grab another pole, and then he goes flying over the side of the falls, which brings me to some point that this kid would have hit the bottom by the time Superman actually sprung into action, okay? But again, it's a superhero movie, so you gotta suspend disbelief, and it's still awesome. And at this point, Lois Lane is beginning to suspect, wait a minute, how is it every time Superman shows up, Clark's not around? So then she's trying to get him to prove that he's Superman by jumping into the water and having her save him, but he manages to do it without putting on the cape. Then Lex Luthor visits Superman's House of Solitude and uses information from his crystals to learn about General Zod and all them. Then later that night, Clark and Lois is still trying to convince herself that Clark is Superman, but at this point he's basically given up and thinks he's Clark, but he trips and his hand goes flying into the fireplace and his hand is not burnt, and at that point she's figured it out. He is Superman and he cannot deny it any longer. Then General Zod and his companions land on Earth, and they terrorize the town. And then the news shows up, and they're like, "Bring us to your leader." And then Superman and Lois Lane have a lunch or something in the House of Solitude. And at this point, Superman consults the memory of his mother because he's in love with Lois Lane, and she tells him if he wants to live with her, he has to give up his powers, which Superman reluctantly does. So now he's just Clark Kent, and they leave the House of Solitude, and they do it. Yes, they do it. And then General Zod and his companions attack the White House, and they threaten the president, but and they want to know about Superman and all that, but who doesn't show up sooner or later but Lex Luthor with a plan. And he tells them all about Superman, that shit, and yeah. That's just Lex for you. And Clark gets in a fight with a man and realizes how immortal he's become. And literally gets his ass handed to him, and he's bleeding and everything. So it's actually kind of sad to see Superman reduced to that. Then General Zod and his men attack the Daily Planet where Lois Lane is, and they take her captive. But Superman can't do anything about it, so he leaves. Then General Zod and his men start attacking the city of Metropolis, and then guess what? Dun da dun da 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 da. Superman appears with his powers back. A little bit of an open book. A little bit of a question as to how exactly he did that. He could have just simply reversed the effects. I'm not exactly sure, but needless to say, he reversed the effects of losing his powers, and he's Superman again, and he's not having the best day. He's getting his ass kind of handed to him, and he's having a hard time fighting General Zod while trying to prevent them killing people, so it's not exactly his day. And then they take Lois Lane captive, and they go to the House of Solitude, where Superman continues to fight them. But they tell him. But then Superman tries to trick them into the chamber that took his powers away, and he tells Lex Luthor about it, but Luthor can't resist the chance to double-cross Superman, so he does, and Superman's like, "You asshole." So they force Superman into the chamber, and if he doesn't, they'll kill Lois Lane. So he does, and he loses his powers again. Then General Zod's like, bow to me. And he's like, take my hand. Superman does, and he squeezes his hand and basically crushes General Zod's hand. And then at that point, it's become clear Superman had the effects reversed. He was safe from the chamber, while everyone outside lost their powers. That's pretty badass, and he very easily kills General Zod and his companions. And I use the word kill likely, because he only basically kills General Zod, his retard animal guy basically kills himself, and Lois Lane is like, get off me, bitch. Punches her in the face and she goes flying. Then Lex is just like, oh, you know, Superman, I was with you the whole time. You know, just typical Lex Luthor stuff. Then Superman and Lois Lane fly off, and then she's like, I'll never tell them who you are, I promise. But then the next day at the Daily Planet, she's like, I can't do this. I can't take it knowing you're out there in the world. Or something like that. I don't know, it's kind of a tough scene. It's really kind of hard to follow exactly her argument. I think she's kind of like, he's a world icon, Superman is, and just that fact alone doesn't agree with her. Or something like that. It's hard to explain. You gotta watch the scene yourself and you get it, but Superman then gives her a kiss, and it takes away her memory that she's Superman, and she's all better now. Then Clark visits the guy at the diner that beat the crap out of him, and he punches Clark. He's like, you got it all, never show him punch. And he's like, you, what the hell? Then Clark spins him on the seat, and he goes flying. And then he pays the diner guy back, and he's like, yeah, that should make up for the damages. Then he brings the American flag back to the White House, a new one, because the White House got destroyed, basically. And then we have the iconic flying over the Earth sequence, and that's the end of the movie. And that's Superman 2. A little bit of a step down from the first one, but not by much. I still love it. 4 out of 5 stars. Not perfect, but still better. It's still better than I've seen worse. It's still awesome. Okay, that's Superman 2.
Yes, now djufu will die.
You know what, Godzilla? I'm gonna handle this one, okay? Whatever. Alright, come on. Shoot me then.
I prepared the beam of ultimate badness. It will shoot you now. What the fuck?
Game Boy Advance SP, meet the latest in handheld gaming technology.
What is that? I cannot comprehend its height. It is too much.
Well, comprehend it because it's the best thing out there, and your power is insignificant in comparison.
No, I'm no match.
Just watch, it's going to explode. Well, not literally explode, but you know what I mean. It's going to explode in an explosion of power that will destroy you.
No, it's impossible. No system can comprehend my handhold capabilities. No!
But goes to show, sometimes out with the old, in with the new. Oh, right. I got a movie review marathon to finish. So, who's next?